All right, hey, so for this video, we're going to talk a little bit about cover sheets. So I just wanted to start out with examples first of what cover sheets are and what they look like, and then we'll talk a little bit about how to create one in Revit. So cover sheets can vary. It's just kind of like title blocks. Every company has their own standards that they use. And so you're going to find that every cover page looks very different. Some companies put very little on their cover page. Other companies put a ton of stuff. So I can show you what my residential cover sheet looks like. It's what we're looking at here. Some common things you'll start to notice is there's typically some sort of image of the project. So for me, I like the whole cover page. I like a big portion of the cover page to be a picture of the project. Then you typically write the name of the project pretty large on the cover page so people know what the project is. So in this case, it's my house. So I put Weiberg Residence, right? Then sometimes, not always, you'll find information about the designers. So, or the general contractor, architect, structural engineer. Somewhere on the sheet, there's information. So if you ever need to contact any of those individuals, you could. Then there can be other things, right? On this one, there's project data. So we've got the address here, site information, all of the codes that are applicable to this project. And then we have some area breakdowns. And then over here, something that's very common to find on a cover sheet is the sheet index. So a list of all of the sheets that you're going to find in the set of drawings. So here you can see, here's the architectural, structural, and interior design sheets. So let's see what that looks like in a non-residential example. Let's go to our middle school where we had the gym edition that we've looked at. So here's the name of the project, the address, and then here's a big image of the building or the remodel. And you can see they just, instead of doing a rendering like I did on my cover, they've just done a 3D view in Revit. And then here are all the consultants. So the electrical, mechanical, plumbing, civil, and structural engineers down here and their information. And then over here is the index. But you can see overall, their cover sheet looks similar to their title block. All they did is they took their title block. Here, let's see. Sorry, you can see a normal sheet. This is their title block that's just here in the bottom and up at the top. They just took that same title block and converted it into a cover sheet. Then there's this middle school project that's same company, but they arranged it a little bit differently. This project was much bigger, so you can see the index for all of the drawings got huge. They still keep the image here and their engineering consultants, the designers. So here's the designer information. Here's the client. And then here's the title of the project and the address. So those are just a couple examples of what you would see in real life. And like I said, no one's is the same. So what we're going to do is, we already talked about how to edit our title block to make it look unique, but let's talk about how to make a cover page. We'll talk about how to edit the cover page and then how to assemble the things onto a cover page. Like, where do you get the 3D image? How do you make a sheet index? And then how do you put more information like the title and whatnot on there? So first, let's just create ourselves a cover sheet. I'm going to go over here to Sheets, and I'm going to right click and we're going to create a new sheet. Now, it's been a minute since we've done this in this class. So what you'll see is a list of all the different title blocks that are loaded into the project. And you can see by default there's one. So we're using size E1 sheets, so 30 by 42. And we've been using the horizontal version of the title block, but you can see there's one called E1 30 by 42 cover. So that's a cover sheet. Let's click on it and click OK. So this is what the default cover sheet looks like from Autodesk. First thing we're going to do like always, when we create a new sheet is come over here and rename it. And I like to use, you can use whatever you want. You can use C and 000. You could have used A000, but we're already using that for the demolition. Some companies use G for general sheet. So I'm going to use G, and I'm just going to call it 000. And we'll name it cover sheet, and click OK. Now you'll notice, because I named it G000, it sorts it funny over here in the browser. When you go to export your PDF, please remember, do not print it with the cover sheet in the middle of the drawings. The cover sheet always needs to come first. And just as a refresher, if I go to my PDF export window, remember, when you're selecting views, you can always come down here and edit the print order. And you can put the sheets in whatever order you want to export them in. So that's what you'll have to do if you name the cover sheet with a G in front of it. So just remember to do that, because I will dock you points if the cover sheet is not in the right spot. All right, so by default, let's see what we have on the Autodesk. We've got the Autodesk logo, which we'll want to change to our logo. We've got the date and the project number, that's fine. Then we've got this room for all the consultants. And then here's it's already reading from our title block. If you remember our title block, we've got the name of the project right here. We've got the client up here, and then this is the sheet name. So let's go back to our cover sheet and see. Tiny House is the name of the project, and Salt Lake Community College is the owner, we're saying. And then the organization name would also be, it could also be Salt Lake Community College, but you can use this to fill in whatever you want. If you want to put in, your name because you're the designer. So let's just change this to designer. You could do that and put your name in there. Okay, so that looks pretty good. We can edit this the same way we'd edit anything else. Let's talk about what we want it to look like. I'm just going to say there's plenty of room for my image right here. So I like that. And then maybe I'm going to move, I don't think there's enough room for my index right here. So maybe, actually, probably my index could go here. We'll just let it go into a couple columns. So I'll put my index here. So I'm going to get rid of all of this stuff out of here. I'll keep this line where it is. We're going to put our image here. We already have the other stuff we need. I'll put my name up here. I'm just going to choose not to put the consultants on here, and then I'll put my logo here. And then you can edit yours any way you want, but let's just go through this. So I'm going to click on the title block, and I'm going to hit Edit Family, and it'll open the family editor, just like we did when we were editing our title block. I'm going to click on Autodesk and delete, and then I'm going to select all that and delete it. And I'll leave the labels where they are. And we haven't talked a lot about labels. If you did the extra credit and made your own room tag, then you know a little bit about labels. So we're not going to mess with those for now. If you wanted to, you could move them in a different place. If you wanted it down at the bottom, in fact, let's just do that. If we want all this information down at the bottom, we can move it down there, and then we put our image up above that. That's fine. Or maybe you want the project name up at the top, and then the client name underneath that. And then I can keep my designer name down below that. And then maybe we want another line, so we could copy that like that, or even like this. All right. Or if you didn't want that at all, let's just say, let's take that out. We just maybe we just want the project name and the client name. Or let me undo that. How about this? How about we keep client name on top, like it was, project name underneath it, and then instead of organization name, let's have this be the project address. So if you click on the label, you can come over to its properties and click edit. And right now, this is like, it's a little bit like our schedule. These are all the parameters that are associated with a project in Revit, and we can display a parameter with the label. So for example, we could do the project address. So I pick project address and I put it over here, and I'm going to take the organization name and pull it out and click OK. And now it'll automatically display the project address there. And then maybe we put that line right there. And then I get rid of this one. Okay, so now we just need to add our logo. So for that, we'll insert an image. So you go to the Insert tab, and we're going to look for Import Image. And I'm going to go to my logo real quick. We want probably, let's go with this one. There we go. So we'll just replace what used to be Autodesk with my company logo. And there we go. We've got a new cover sheet. So now all I need to do is load it back into the project. So I'll just click that button. And yes, we want to overwrite the existing version. And now you can see that's what it looks like. Now, I don't think I got it quite centered. And we'll put in, for you, you can enter, 123 Red Street, Provo, Utah, whatever you want the address to be, no one cares. But just have some sort of address in there. Let's go back to the title block sheet. I probably want to center this. And to do that, I might need to find a line, draw a line, and snap it on the center mark. And then move this back. There we go. Now I'll just delete that. And I'll load it back into the project. There we go. So now my cover page is customized, and now I can start putting the stuff I want on it. So let's do the 3D view first. So to do a 3D view, I like to go to my working floor plan. And to remember to get a 3D perspective, all you have to do is go to the View tab. And right here, there's a 3D view. And we want to do a camera view. So it gives you this little camera. And I'm just going to back out a ways and then point the camera towards the house. And now you can see I can just crop the view the way I want it. And then let's go find it over here. Sorry, my video recording tools gets in my way from browsing. All right, so 3D views. And here's our 3D view. Let's rename it to cover image. I'm going to turn off the crop region so that we don't see that. Oops, wrong button. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to close that. Let's go to our cover page and let's drag that image onto it. Oh, we can see a couple things are wrong. It's way too small, and we've got this title bar, which we don't want. So click on the view, and we can go up here and we can pick to have a no title on there on the view. And now you simply click on the view, and there's this thing that says size crop. Click that. And we want to pick how wide it's going to be. So before we do that, let's just do a real quick measurement by going to the the Modify tab. And there's this little measure tool. Let's measure how wide our title block is. It's 3 feet, 3 3/4 of an inch. So let's go over here. Let's click our view and hit the crop size button. And remember that you need to click this scale to lock the proportions. If you don't lock the proportions, it'll change the width but not the height, and it'll look funny. So before you enter any numbers, hit that box, and then we'll do 3 foot, 3 inches, 3 feet, 3 inches, and we won't worry about the 3/4. We'll hit apply, and you can see it got really big. So now I'll just kind of fit it on the page the way I'd like it to look. And there we go. And then again, you can double click in the view and you can change things if you'd like. We could change this to consistent colors. Oh, the other thing we can do is change the phase. Let's change the phase filter to show complete. That'll put everything in normal color. And you can see I haven't built my roof on yet. There we go. So now it shows our picture. We've got the client's name, we've got the name of the project, we've got the address, we've got our company name on here. So now something we might add is an index. So an index, a sheet index, all it is a schedule, just like the windows and doors, but you're scheduling all the sheets in the project. So let's go with view. Let's go to view and hit legend. Oh, sorry, not legend, schedule. And then when we pull down the schedule list, or the schedule options, you can see there's one called sheet list. You can click that button. And now it says, what do you want to include in your schedule? What are the columns going to be? So what we really care about is the name of the sheet. So sheet name, and the sheet number also should be on there. In fact, sheet number should go before the name, so we'll just put it up on the list. So sheet number, sheet name, and for now we'll click OK, and let's see what it does. So here's all of our sheets. Now, if there are sheets in your project that you don't want on the schedule, you'll need to either delete the sheet or you need to filter the schedule so that it doesn't show that sheet. Right now, I don't have any sheets that I don't want to show on the index. Sometimes you have extra sheets that are maybe presentation sheets or they're placeholder sheets, but you haven't put anything on them yet. And so you don't want it to show up on the cover page because you only want sheets on the cover page if they're printed with that set of drawings. So if it's not going to be in the set of drawings, if a sheet isn't going to be in the set, you want to get rid of the sheet. And so the way you would do that is through the filter. So if you remember the other schedule discussion, you go over and hit filter, and you can pick how to filter it. So you could pick any of the variables that you have in the schedule, you can pick those. And so what I typically do if I don't want something scheduled is I change the number of the sheet to have an asterisk in front of it. And then I would filter it by sheet number, and I would say only show the sheets with a sheet number that does not contain an asterisk. So I'll put that filter on right now and click OK. And it doesn't do anything because none of these sheets have an asterisk in their name. But watch, if I go down to A000 and I rename it and I put an asterisk in the sheet number and click OK. Do you see how it dropped off the list? There's no longer an A000. It sorted it out. So if I rename it and I take the asterisk off and click OK, it'll put it back in. Okay, so that's step one, is making sure the sheets that you want are in the list. Now the other thing is you can see they're all out of order. So let's go back over to our properties, and where it says sorting and grouping, click edit. And right now it's not sorting it by anything. So let's sort it by sheet name and click OK. Oh, not sheet name. That's not what we want. Sorting and grouping. Sheet number. So now it puts the numbers in the order, in order, which is what we want, except for G000. Typically, you don't put the cover sheet in the sheet list. So let's filter that out. Let's go to filter and let's add another filter that says sheet number does not contain a G. So this will filter out anything, any sheet that has a sheet number that contains G, it'll take it out. So we'll click OK, and now it took the G sheet out. So great. Now we'll take our sheet schedule. So we got to go find it first. So here's our sheet list. Let's drag it and drop it. Here's our sheet list now. And what we're going to do is we can stretch it like this and put it right there. So there we go. Now we've got our sheet list. And if you needed to, because if it's too long, you can break it in half by clicking that little break button. And you just, if you move this up and down, it'll adjust into several columns. And then you can break it again. If you want another column, you can hit that little, kind of looks like a lightning bolt. You can hit that again. And if you want to rejoin them, I always forget how to do this, but I think if you just put them next to each other, oops. Oh, I think you have to, sorry. So I hope I didn't explain very well what I just did. So let me break it again. I'll break it with this. And then you have to click on it and don't just drag it in place. You have to use this little, see this corner where it's got the arrows? You have to click on that control and then drag it on top of the other one and it'll combine it back the way it was. All right, so now we have our sheet index, our image. The only other thing I might put is my own information as the designer. And you can do that with a label. You can edit the cover sheet title block and do it with a label, but that's a little bit advanced. So a shortcut would be just to go to the Annotate tab and select text and just type it in the way you want it. Designed by Brenton Weiberg. And you can play with the text if you want. We can do a bigger text. You can justify it the other way if you'd like. However you want to do it. But that's how you create and edit and just generally change up your cover sheet.